Hello, everybody. This is Zach at it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and I'm honored to be here with Nina Shaw. She is the project manager of Wheelchair for Kids. Nina, it's an honor to have you on the program today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so very much, Zach. It is amazing to have the opportunity to talk about something that is so passionate for me.
Absolutely. And it's very passionate for me as well. As we discussed in an earlier phone conversation, I was born with cerebral palsy and have been bound to a wheelchair all of my life. I got my first wheelchair actually when I was 9 years old, so I know the importance of getting wheelchairs. And you have made a very special member of Southwest Virginia very happy by providing him with a new set of wheels, and that is Mr. Mikey Watson of Marion, Virginia.
Yes.
Um, do you know? Do you know anything particular offhand about Mr. Watson and the type of wheelchair you were able to secure for him?
So the type of wheelchair we were able to secure for Mike,
Mm-hmm.
Mike needed something to maintain his independence
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to go out into the world kind of safely, independently. Um, and what we were able to provide is what is called a lightweight power wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And these power chairs are amazing because they do provide the independence that a power chair provides. So he doesn't have to have a caretaker, family, or friend around him to push him, providing that great independence for him. But it also provides the ability that it folds up kind of like a stroller does and fits in the trunk of a car. As you might know, power
Right.
chairs are usually very large, bulky, and heavy, and cannot be transported in the trunk of a car. So this allows Zach the possibility of having a friend pick him up and transport the wheelchair for him. It doesn't have to be a special vehicle, and that just opens a whole new world of opportunities for him.
Absolutely. Opportunities that all of us are entitled to, and being wheelchair bound, we should have the opportunity to see and be a part of society as much as anyone else. And you have a wonderful organization that allowed Mikey to be able to secure his chair via 100% sponsorship.
Yes,
So that
sir.
he did not have to pay out of pocket. So that is a wonderful and very special organization, and one we need to promote all we can. Can you tell me a little bit about Wheelchairs for Kids and how it got started, and your role in it, and how you became involved with it?
Oh my goodness, that's a really long answer.
It would be,
Um,
yeah.
Wheelchairs for Kids is a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to improving the lives of children with physical disabilities. That is our boilerplate and what we live by. Who is able to apply? We provide assistance to children up to the age of 21. So anybody who still has not celebrated their 21st birthday is welcome to apply. We provide assistance to children with physical disabilities. So anybody with a mobility impairment is welcome to apply. And we provide assistance in equipment that aids in mobility and accessibility. So it kind of breaks down into wheelchairs, walkers, gait trainers, standers. We are able to do some small home modifications, helping families remove the bathtub and tile to put in a roll-in shower. We're able to expand bathroom doors to create that access for a wheelchair. Most standard homes don't have the width that is needed in their doorways to make it easy access for wheelchairs to get into bathrooms. We're also able to provide ramps so children can independently access and exit their home. And lastly, we're able to provide this some small vehicle modifications, like putting on a vehicle lift to transport an unoccupied wheelchair. As as we said, power chairs are really heavy, and many times, even though our families are able to get a power chair through their insurance or through Medicaid, then they're left with, well, we can only use it to go on the school bus because we have no way to transport it. Or he only gets to use it inside the house because we have no way to get it in and out. So those are the kind of problems we try to solve. Wheelchairs for Kids has been around for 13 years. Our founder and executive, Madeline Robinson, and her husband, Lonnie Robinson, created Wheelchairs for Kids. Madeline used to be a WISH coordinator and worked a lot with kids with special needs that had, she would take these kids on amazing trips and wishes to concerts and anywhere they wanted to go, basically.
Yeah, Disney World does a lot of Make-A-Wish things.
Disney does a lot of them, yes. And so she would see these kids arrive and have an amazing, 5-star week, but then they were sitting in a wheelchair that was way too small, that was duct taped together, and there was parts that were missing and parts that were rusted. And she found out that wish-granting organizations do not provide equipment to children. So the kind of story goes, she was complaining to her husband, and he kind of turned around and said, well, are you going to complain about it, or are you going to do something about it? And that's how she created Wheelchairs for Kids. 13 years later, we've served over 1,800 children, providing them mobility equipment, and we do all of it at no cost to families.
And that is absolutely beautiful. Now, your involvement personally with Wheelchair for Kids, how did that come about?
So my involvement personally, I moved to Florida a little bit over 8 years ago. So I had this opportunity to kind of change career paths a little bit, and I started job hunting. I was like, oh, program coordinator, this looks interesting. I had several different jobs in the past. I was like, oh, this kind of encompasses a little bit of everything that I've done. And I came to interview with Madeline. It was a hysterical interview. And she hired me, and I've been here for 8 years, never had another job interview, just jumped right on board. Started as a program coordinator, and now I am a very happy program manager. I've got 5 people on my team, and we all work together to provide equipment for kids. So we have what I consider the most fun part of the job, because we get to talk to the families, talk to the kids. We do presentations whenever possible, so we get to meet the kids we're working with. We get to see them when they receive the equipment, which most of the time isn't all that fun for kids. Like, hey, here's your new wheelchair. They're like, oh yeah, thanks. So we try to make it as fun as we can. We bring gifts over for them. It's always touches my heart, I think, when you turn around and see the parents and the tears are running down their cheeks, because here you are delivering something that they've fought with insurance and they fought with Medicaid, and they were told their child would not be able to get it, and here it is for them, completely free to take home, for their child to be safe and comfortable and independent, mostly. So it's a really awesome part of it.
So, do you go all over the country to meet with these kids, to meet with them and deliver their equipment and things?
Unfortunately, no. And that is also kind of smart, because we want to save all our money to buy equipment, not to be traveling everywhere.
Right.
So that's kind of a smart way to do it. We are growing. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time we spoke, but we have a second program, which is called our Wheelie Fun Day program. And this is an inclusion program we have where we create events for our children. We do a little bit of everything. amazing. We foster a community because parents get to talk to each other, children get to meet other kids like them, and they get to go on amazing adventures. This last weekend we had an event at Gatorland in Orlando where our kids were able to go adaptive ziplining over a pond full of gators. And it was just amazing. Yes. I got a letter yesterday from a mom saying, I never thought my child could do something like that, and it wasn't for you guys, I would have never even known. And now I know this is a possibility, and we had a great day with you guys and with all the families, but now I know something else my child can do and something else we can do as a family for fun. So that's also an amazing part of our program.
Great. And how I came to know about you wonderful folks is that I knew my friend Mikey. He lives in a town about 25 minutes away from me, both very small Southwest Virginia towns, and his aunt has been a dear friend of mine for over 20 years. So she knew that I also was in a wheelchair and had cerebral palsy, and had the ability where I'm fortunate enough to have a job as an editorial columnist and a YouTube podcaster that I could help spread the word for Mikey, which I was delighted to do. I wasn't even aware there was such an organization to help children, because in my situation, when I was growing up, I will be 40 next month, and I got my first wheelchair when I was 9 years old, so you're talking about 30 years ago. If you didn't get a wheelchair through insurance or could not pay for it out of pocket, you were out of luck. And and there is a big difference between getting a manual wheelchair and getting a power wheelchair. I got my first power wheelchair when I was 17 years old, and when you get a wheelchair, it is like having a pair of legs attached to your body. When you get a power wheelchair, it's like having those legs be able to move by themselves. It was a whole different level of freedom. And what you said before about power wheelchairs not being mobile, you are absolutely correct. You have to have a special vehicle, and fortunately I have been able to have 2 lift-equipped vans. But the situation I'm facing now is that the current van that I have is 20 years old, and a new van costs more than my house. So we're faced with the possibility of, trying to search for grants and options to help adults in that situation. So to know that there is something, especially for children out there, that can give them these much-deserved levels of independence is so heartwarming and so rewarding. Now, can you explain for a moment how these chairs are funded? Because Mikey was sponsored by some people, some agencies, I suppose. I don't have the list in front of me. Do you know who sponsored Mikey?
I don't know directly.
Okay.
I was not working directly with him.
Okay.
But we do a couple of different things. Through our social media, we will share information about the children we are working with. And many times, the families will share that information from our social media. So friends and family are always welcome to show their support, and they can make a donation. It's straight on our website, which is wheelchairs with an S, the number 4, and then kids, again with an S, .org. There's a bright yellow donate button right there on the first page. You can't miss it. And anybody that wants to make a donation can go ahead. And then we will also look for local community sponsors. We reach out to local businesses, local social clubs, to see if anybody is willing and able to donate. And then another way we are able to sponsor our children is we have different grants we work with, different sponsors that provide their much-needed monies that we can use to sponsor these kiddos. So that's kind of what we do. As I say, and as I tell all the parents, we will find a way to make it work. We will look for money under rocks if needed.
Right.
But we will find the equipment, the way to get their child the equipment that they need.
And a power chair can be anywhere between $15,000 and $25,000 for just your basic or customized chairs. I have seen, more sophisticated ones that climb stairs that can be upwards of $50,000. So these things are not cheap, but they are absolutely necessary. Because everyone, as we discussed earlier, everyone deserves a chance to be a functional member of society, and I want people in my community to understand, because we live in small towns, and there are a number of us in similar situations that wheelchair for kids may be in Florida, but they were able to help this kid here in Marion. They can help you. It doesn't matter how small or far removed you are from bigger cities. You can present your case and be sponsored. And I know one of the sponsors that helped Mikey out, but I won't name them in the podcast until I have the list, and then I'll make sure and have all the sponsors in the article. But to all the local social clubs and agencies that sponsor these kinds of things, we thank you very much. We're very grateful to Wheelchairs for Kids for all that they do, and please go and donate and give all you can to organizations like that to keep all people as functional members of society, because we all have gifts, God-given gifts, that need to be shared with the world. And Nina, can you tell me, in your 8 years of working with Wheelchair for Kids, what is the most important thing that you've learned about the disabled community that you think other people need to know?
I have a couple of different ones, and they all go through, they all mean different things to me. But I think the most important one that I've learned is I kind of thought that I knew what a person in a wheelchair needed. Like, you need a wheelchair. Yeah, because you're putting it very point blankly, your legs don't work like they should, so you need a wheelchair to move around. And now that I have worked with people that have different mobility impairments, the amount of equipment and adaptations and things that need to be just a little bit different is astounding. Because people will see a transport chair that's used in a hospital to transport a patient from one room to another and assume that that is a wheelchair that is fit for everybody. And that is one of the furthest things from the truth, that wheelchair shouldn't be used more than to transport a patient from one room to another. These are the sores and all the alignment and things that can happen to somebody that uses something like that long term.
Right.
Just realizing the amount of equipment a single person needs was amazing. the prices of everything just because they are labeled for special needs or for handicap accessibility, whatever tag you want to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible.
Unnecessarily so.
Unnecessarily so, yes, I would believe. And the thing I have learned the most is to kind of, I want to say this with the right words. There's something that we have called like that wheelchair. I want to say it's like a wheelchair break. Like people don't know how to engage with people in wheelchairs.
Right.
How to make that first approach.
You mean a social protocol?
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, well, how do I talk to them? Well, how do you talk to the person sitting next to you in the waiting room? It's exactly the same. You just need to say, "Hi, my name is this."
Right.
And if the person wants to answer, then you keep on a conversation. And I think being able to be an advocate and kind of show people like, hey, look, this is the way we do it, this is the way we have fun together, has also been a really great experience for me.
Well, I'm the type of person that if you sit down and say hello to me, I will tell you my life story, because that is
That's what we want.
that is who I am. But not everybody is like that. But in answer to that, I would say that they would want to be approached the same as you would approach any other human being. And in today's world of social media, even non-disabled humans, if you take the disability factor out of it or put it in, it doesn't matter. Human contact with each other, one human to another, is limited, and it's awkward these days because things are so different and people are so detached rather from human contact that that we don't know how to engage socially as we used to, and there was always the proverbial elephant in the room if you're the only person in the wheelchair sitting there. That people don't know how to approach you. They don't want to approach you. But you're right. Yes, do not be afraid to ask me questions, because I will tell you I will tell you whether you want to know or not, probably. But, I'm one of the very fortunate ones who am fortunate enough to have a career and own my own home, and I am married to a wonderful woman who devotes so much of her life to ensuring that I have a life, and we have a beautiful, wonderful, healthy 10-year-old daughter who has an affinity for people with disabilities because of me, and that makes me tear up, because to everybody else, I'm the guy in the wheelchair. To Bella, I'm just daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the greatest thing in the world, and I wish that for every person that is in the wheelchair. I wish that for Mikey. I wish that for every person, that they could experience an opportunity to love and be loved as they deserve. And you're right, coming back to the equipment question, or topic that we were on, you're absolutely right. People are not aware. It is not a generalized statement. If you have cerebral palsy, first of all, that's just one disease that can render you in a wheelchair. One.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 4 types of that particular disease. There are hundreds of diseases that could render you in a wheelchair. And even if you have the same disease, no two conditions are the same. No 2 cases of spastic cerebral palsy are the same. Mikey and I have cerebral palsy, but we have very different issues. And, and it is so important to sit down and talk to that individual and see what they need personally, because if someone has cancer, there are no two types of cancer that are the same. If you get the flu, you don't have the same symptoms. It's no different than anything else. So before we run out of time, I just want to say this is so important to donate to places like Wheelchair for Kids. I'm going to do all I can to pound the proverbial pavement for you. And I thank you so much for talking with me today. Is there anything else you want to say before we close to the community to get this out?
This was just an amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Well, bless you.
I will take an opportunity to mention that we have another little program where, as I say, every little bit counts. So if somebody wants to make a donation that doesn't really feel that their contribution is big, we have what is a recurring donation program. We call it Guardian of the Wheel Kids, where you can set it up to be billed directly to your credit card every month. You can decide any amount. I think I'm not going to say I think the lowest one is $10, but let's pretend that it is, and you can just say, hey, I'm going to help $10 a month every month, and that changes somebody's life. So any way you can, if you want to make one donation to somebody's name, if you want to make a general donation, if you want to make it a recurring donation, every little bit helps, and every little bit gets a child closer to independence.
And that is what we all want, for all of us to have the same level of independence and human dignity that we all deserve. And God bless you for what you're doing, Nina. God bless the founders of this organization. Please pass my personal regards to them. And we will not forget you, nor will we let you be forgotten. So if I can do any promotion for you in any kind of way, social media, in my newspaper articles, through a podcast, you keep my number and you call me. And
I will. I will share with you all our press releases so you can keep finding out everything we're doing.
And I will do everything I can, and I will keep you abreast of people here in Southwest Virginia that need your help too, because lots of kids out here in the country need help too. So.
Well, thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you, and bless you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your help in getting this done.